in the Harmony House, and she will introduce my dear friends who are the panelists. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Michelle, for this beautiful introduction. I didn't know the significance that why that light is up high. So that's good to know. I will welcome Erica and Louise. Come, please join on the stage. So myself, Tina, as you heard, as Sister Tina, as I am called here, I am taking this chance to moderate this evening's talk because I thought that usually on our panel on this platform at Global Harmony House, we usually call very seasoned practitioners of Raj Yoga meditation. And this time I feel personally that it is, it's very, very unique because we have someone who's very new to this practice and yet has a lot of treasure of experience over this 1.5 or 2 years. So, right, Erica? So I have Erica Wigley with me, who wears many hats. She is a mother, she's a daughter, she's sister, she is a businesswoman, she is a friend, and of course, by profession, she's a healthcare provider. And most important role she feels is that she plays the role of being a student of God as the supreme teacher, the supreme guide. And I think Erica says to me all the time that she's learning, whatever teachings of Raj Yoga meditation through the Brahma Kumaris is she's learning whatever knowledge that is actually fueling her to live well and to be more present with others. She's practicing this, what, 1.5 years, Erica? Welcome. When she talks, you wouldn't believe that it's just 1.5 year. You will feel she's like 10 years or so practicing meditation, right? And then we have a very good combination with her. On my right, she's Louise Montalbano, right? And Louise is a very good friend. Many of you know her, right? You know her because she loves to MC the Thursday night sessions. She participates in the outreach programs that Global Harmony House does, whether it is through exhibitions, whether it is to do with the temple service, or whether it is to just meet and greet people when we have big holiday programs at the Harmony House. She takes care of the flowers. She loves plants. I know so many qualities about her. But Louise has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation for 9 years now. And recently she's been to our headquarters in Mount Abu in India, which was a very courageous step that she took with Erica and with me. So I enjoyed that experience. Um, Also, Louise, I think she always feels very grateful for the impact that the Raj Yoga meditation and the teachings of Brahma Kumaris, the studies has had on her personal growth and as well as on all her relationships. She feels how much it has made life beautiful, and she always expresses that gratitude. So welcome, Louise. Welcome, Erica. I'm going to start with the first question, where, just now Michelle mentioned about the different festivals that we celebrate during the season of light, whether it is Diwali, whether it is Christmas, whether it is Hanukkah, right? Even though the origin of it could be several years apart, yet the message that is given through these festivals or the way that they're celebrated is quite similar, I feel. And so I'm wondering, why are you so drawn to light? Maybe Erica, you can talk about it. You can talk about it from religious perspective or from spiritual perspective or just your personal experience with light. What is so special about light? Why does it draw you? What does it signify for you?
Grew up in the church.
Is it on? Yeah.
Yes, I grew up in the church. I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. My mom is a Seventh-day Adventist, and my dad is Catholic. So we had both religions in the home. But I would say that as a child, I always felt very connected, that it had nothing to do with the religion. It had to do with a personal connection that I had. And I couldn't express it in words as a child, but I felt it. I felt it in the people that I would see, that I would meet, even as a little kid. I felt it in animals. I felt it in nature. I, again, didn't have the words to understand what it was, but I could see the essential beauty in people, despite how they showed up in life, despite how cantankerous they could be or loving. There was a common theme. And I realized that there was more to this thing called life than we really could see with our eyes. And that's, I would say, my inner churnings of wanting to develop a deeper relationship with light, with love, with God.
Mm. All right, good. Thank you. Louise, you want to share what is this whole concept of light signifies in your life?
Well, first of all, good evening. I'm Shanti. Hello, everyone. It's funny to be sitting up here instead of down there. I want to take it all the way back, way before I had any of those thoughts and feelings, to when I was a child. And because the theme tonight is light, well, of course, we're taught as children to fear flames and light and whatever. But I was born Jewish and went to Hebrew school, and God was a burning bush in the Old Testament. And you weren't afraid until they scared me a little bit. It was an Orthodox. We didn't have a car, and I had to walk to Hebrew school, and the closest one was Orthodox, and my parents weren't. And forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but I would just, we're supposed to stay away from pig and pork and all that. And the rabbi said God was going to strike me dead if I ate that stuff. And I came home to bacon and eggs, and my mother would kill me if I didn't clean my plate. So that was the beginning of trauma in my head. But back to the light, God was a miracle. And then along came Hanukkah. And Hanukkah we had only real candles. And I eventually started lighting them. But when I watched my mother light those candles, I would stand actually in the kitchen and watch them melt. And I didn't know it then, but the flame looking inside the candle would put me in a meditative state before I even heard the word or knew the word meditation. And then it would take a very short time for those little candles to melt. But that stayed with me for the 8 days. And I think that was my first introduction to, and I hadn't thought of that until I was driving here this evening and put that together, and how meditation is just going to the light. The light no longer scares me. The light of God, whom we call affectionately Baba, is my friend, my teacher, loves me truly. And at times when I don't feel I deserve that love, perhaps, or I don't like what I've said or done, there is always the light that's going to show me I love you anyway. I'm not sure I answered your question.
Yeah, yes, you did.
It's enough that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. What I'm picking up is that even before you were, aware that I am light, or my connection with the light is there, even without consciously being aware of that, you were still kind of drawn towards light. You were still kind of attracted towards light. And I was thinking, when the light comes on, right? even at the physical level, it gives us so much happiness. I was remembering this morning we had lights off, lights were turned down because some electricians were working, and we were aware of it. We were pre-informed. So 11:30 the lights went, and before that we did all whatever we had to do, in the kitchen or cooking or cleaning or whatever. And it was okay, all okay. We had our candlelight lunch this afternoon. And then afterwards, it was time to clean, and we were in the kitchen. And suddenly the lights came on. We were like, yay, the lights are on. The lights came on. And maybe the sister who was with me, she did not realize that I said this. And she said, oh, look, the lights are on, And then somebody who was outside, they came running and said, oh, lights are back, lights are back. So it kind of reminded me that even when we were as children back in India, where during the summertime, we have a lot of power cutoffs. And so every time we had power cutoff, we used to then as a family get together and just sit, because you can't do anything, right? When the lights are not there, especially in the evening times. So as a family, you would chit chat, or with friends, you would chit chat. And then when the lights would come on, you were like, yay, the lights are on, the lights are on, and then everybody would kind of go back to their work. So I was just thinking, I guess there is also this whole field of science which talks about how the presence of light and the absence of light has such a deep impact on our brains, and then eventually on our minds and on our health. But I'm not going to go into the science part of it. What I'm really trying to get at, do you, Erica, have any memory or any story to share with us as to how light has played an important role in your journey of awakening, in your journey of knowing the truth about yourself?
Yes, I have many stories. I went through a very difficult divorce,
Hmm.
and that was my version of what I thought was rock bottom. And in that, I had to look at life differently because I felt like I had no other choice. And after years of holding on to unforgiveness, I realized that it was quenching, it was removing the light that I always felt as a child. That joy, that peace, that connection, that unity. I somehow couldn't really feel that anymore. So I realized that um, that was my first understanding that something had to change, that I had to turn back on the light. Not that it went anywhere, it's just that I had to turn the switch on again. And it took me years of releasing the unforgiveness to begin to feel connected to who I essentially was again, which was joy, which was peace, which was happiness. I would say that that was the most pivotal example of the power of light and the absence of it.
Beautiful. Very nice. And then you were able to rekindle that light and then experience completely different self. Louise, you have any story for us?
I certainly do. Does Louise have a story? Really? Well, my story is the opposite of Erica. I didn't have a light that I was aware of as a child. I had some trauma as a child. I was an anxious child, which makes where I am today, when I'm at my highest stage, which is more times than I'm at a low stage. We've talked about that. It makes it that much more of a miracle. And the miracle really began about 19 years ago when I went to Peace Village, our upstate retreat, and Sister Dorothy looked at me and said, you know, dear, you're not a body with a soul. You're a soul with a body. And my eyes watered. And somewhere inside of me, unconsciously, I really had an inkling that I had finally found what I was looking for. Years before that, I started to really realize that I'm going to use a strong word, lies that I grew up with about myself weren't true. So talk about black and white. I went from black to white, sometimes off-white. but the metamorphosis for me has been the miracle of my Baba. And even when I didn't know about Baba, I had this light inside of me that pushed through all the anxiety of my childhood. And I can revisit the pain, but I don't stay in it. It's very rare that I function as I used to be anxious Louise. And now I'm Louise who rarely, but sometimes and sometimes intensely has anxiety, but I know where to go and what to do. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, be beautiful. And I will come back to this switch, that happened so quickly, where you're saying from being black to white or dark to light, you came. And we do talk about it in our meditation practice, how we do that. So that's really nice. I'll come back to it in a minute. But I do want to touch upon one more thing, is that in the history of humanity, we are very much aware that there was a time when each individual actually lived in a higher consciousness. Higher consciousness means I am light, you are light. I understand, I recognize, I am aware, and you are aware, like that. But today, in the winter of the world, it seems that light within us is going dim and dimmer. And so many things are happening in the world that you want to shine your light, but because of the influences that are coming towards you with so much force, I'm not able to maintain that. And so, according to you, maybe Louis, you can answer this first. Which qualities do you believe we need to inculcate in our own lives so that we can stay in light, and eventually it will help the world to come into the light? Because everybody loves light, right? So, how can I be that inspiration for the world to come into light and not be so afraid of light, like you was sharing?
Like 3 parts to that question.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically, what is the quality that is needed to
Mm.
inculcate in my life
Mhm.
or in anyone who is sitting here? What quality should they inculcate that will help them to be in that light all the time? And when I am in light, I will actually inspire others to come into the light. It's like, when you get up in the morning early, right? I don't know if you stay with your siblings, you would know this. I've grown up with 7 siblings. And so I know when I used to get up, I would want all of them to get up. So I would go and shake all of them, get up, get up. Or if one of my brother or sister would be up, then they would come and wake me up that, just wake up, wake up. And even them very sleepy, but because they are already awakened, so they would come and awaken me. But if I am sleeping, I am not going to go and awaken anyone, right? So that's where I'm coming from. What is it? What quality do I need to imbibe in myself so that I can stay awake and thereby bring others into light?
Well, I'd like to lead up to that. I started as a child and then we become an adolescent. And the self-centeredness tends to wear away eventually a bit because, especially if you're an anxious kid, you're always thinking about yourself. And slowly, I started to use the anxiety as an impetus for growth. And anxiety, believe it or not, very often became my friend,
Hmm.
pushed me. And I
When you say
realized,
became my friend, what do you mean? Like you started liking it?
no, I appreciated it
Uh,
because it pushed me to a new height.
mhm.
It pushed me. And then I only had to look at other people who didn't have that light, that push, that energy, whatever, that force. And this is pre really having a religion that made sense to me at all, and years before I got here. So I was really focused on there's something about me that always pushed forward. I got a job at a major high school here. And I was anxious, but no one knew it. And I would just push, but I had a girlfriend whose husband was severely and housebound, and he died, and I didn't die. Nothing killed me. And what happened was, as I got older and older and more mature, to answer the second part or the third part, I started to realize the impact I could have on other people and the qualities that it took to get out of my own way, drop the self-consciousness, drop the ego, if you know what I mean. And there is a direct pipeline, I think, between dropping all that and having, let's say you're in a situation with a person and they're not behaving the way you want them to, or the world is not behaving the way we want it to. There's a direct pipeline. I'll have an initial reaction of whatever, negative, dark. But when I bring myself into the light, and now it comes almost instantly, there's a direct pipeline to the compassion and the mercy for another person. Like I can't become light and not share it. Does that make sense? I can't. Specifically, I had an incident a few months ago with a big group of people, and we all knew each other. And one person was not behaving well and didn't like I was on crutches, and someone tried to help me, and she was making more noise, and someone was speaking, and finally I kind of turned and said, "It's okay." It wasn't the gentle first four okays. And she got huffy, and I just backed away. And I didn't call her until 3 days later. And she had had time to process. I had had time to process. And I took the initiative of calling her. I didn't know what reaction I would get. But we cried on the phone, and we couldn't wait to meet the next day and hug. Because we both understood it was not our finest moment. But if I were 10 or 20 years younger, I would have been on my high horse, as we say. I would have absolutely had to have been right, and you were wrong, and all that nonsense. That to me is dispelling the darkness and going to the light. And I wish our world could do it as well as we learned to do it here.
So what I'm hearing you saying is when you say drop the ego or drop the self-consciousness, basically you're saying be more humble, be more respectful, and then you are able to recognize your own true worth, your own true self. And because you recognize yourself, you're therefore able to recognize the other in their true form and therefore have compassion, even if they're under the influence of these alternative energies, like we call at the Brahma Kumaris, whether it's anger or whether it's arrogance or whatever. Because of that recognition, you're able to have that compassion and mercy and thereby help them.
And it takes self-confidence that I didn't always have. And the older I get, the better that is. The self-confidence allows me to treat other people well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, Erica, what are your qualities that help you to stay in that light and then help others to come into that light?
I used to pray for a community like this. And this community has helped to keep me grounded. It has helped to give me guidance in a world that can sometimes seem chaotic at times, confusing at times, and not peaceful at times. And having a group that you can feel not only understood, but also be a student of how to live this life well without being so attached to the dramas. I would say attachment also is another area in which it keeps you connected to problems. And it feels almost like an entanglement. And through what I've learned in being a part of BK, attachment is one of the things to be quite aware of and where it shows up. Also, in your family dynamic, sometimes we, right, as Louise said, sometimes we're born in situations that can be very difficult to navigate. And in that, where do you have a sense of belonging and not connected or attached to the confusion that you've been born into? I would say the third thing that helps to keep the light burning bright is my prayer life, my time with Baba, and going to him and being honest with how I feel and not trying to make it sound so proper, but really going to him with pure honesty in terms of what I'm feeling and thinking and needing, even though we're not supposed to be needing, but what I'm thinking and feeling and needing, asking for answers, asking for answers. I would say those are the three things. And I would say the fourth, and maybe fifth, is being mindful of what I eat. Very mindful of what I consume, because that also, I have found, can lower my ability to connect with life. And we know that when we eat certain things, it creates GI issues, maybe a little bit of anxiety, maybe something just doesn't feel right in our body. And all of those things lowers our energy level. So being very mindful of what I eat and mindful of what I watch on television, what I listen to in terms of music, all of these things are very influencing to my ability to either connect with life or disconnect from it. So that was a long answer.
No, that's nice. You actually answered my next question. you know, um, so I was going to ask you actually that given that we are constantly surrounded by um, so much, like confusion or dark clouds or worrisome thoughts, or there is so much forgetfulness and uncertainty around us, and in these kinds of situations, what are some of the practices that we can actually use from your practices that can help me to maintain this light? But you already answered that question, so thank you. You're way ahead of it. But I just want to clarify for our friends here that when they both are saying my Baba or Baba, this is just an endearing way of referring to God as Father. In many languages, we do use this term Baba for Father. And there is this whole understanding in the Brahma Kumaris that when you forge a relationship with the source light, the supreme light, it is that relationship then helps me to have the remembrance very naturally. I don't have to make an extra effort to sit down and remember God, or I don't have to make an extra effort to think about Him. It's like how you would remember your father or your mother or your sibling or your friend. It's just like that. Very naturally, it helps me to remember Him. So that's where they both are coming from. If someone of you is wondering, what is this, my Baba? Right?
Can I
So,
just add on
yes,
anything?
Louis,
If
what,
time?
what are your practices,
Yeah,
Louis?
that's what I was going to
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah.
Meditation was always part of my vocabulary, and it was mostly to create peace. What I've learned here, and if you've come regularly, you know, we talk about body consciousness versus soul consciousness. Do you know, you have a clear idea? Or do I need to explain? Anybody want me to explain those?
Yeah. you
Okay.
can-
Well, body consciousness is the way we are the minute we're born into this world, and we have a body that we have to take care of, we have to feed, we have to do, and we're concerned with image and do I wear makeup or do I not wear makeup? And it's anything you can perceive with your five senses in others and in yourself. And then we start to believe our own image is who we are. I'm a teacher. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I, me. We sing that song. I'm a failure at it. I'm a success at it. We judge. At any moment that this world disappoints me, or people disappoint me, or I disappoint me, I can turn that switch off, because it was only with the Brahma Kumaris that we get drilled every day in our readings to be soul conscious. And here's the thing, you know, meditation was always eyes closed.
Mhm.
While you're walking on the street in Manhattan, stuck in traffic, a lot of bike lanes now, it's stuck in traffic. While you're doing anything involving people or alone, I'll speak for myself. I can transport myself to my higher self, to my soul, which we believe is right here. And it has memory of many lifetimes, what we believe. But the important thing is, I don't have to be the body conscious person anymore that I grew up being, that most of us are a lot. I'll lapse back into it, but the drama, when the drama gets heavy, you can't even tell by looking at me necessarily that I'm not with you anymore. You mentioned the word attached. I detach from the scene of the drama, and I'm standing there, I'm talking, I'm walking. My eyes are open. Whether I'm sitting here, my eyes are open. Or I'm walking and talking, my eyes are open. But I know that I'm in a place nobody can touch me. It may last 5 seconds. It may last, hopefully, most of the day. But it's mine and it's me. And I struggled for a long time before I realized. I still put on the makeup and I try to look nice, of course, you know, and you go see the grandkids, they want to see your nails. The girls are all like teens and preteen. But there's a me that I never had as a younger person.
Okay, beautiful. So, what we heard from Erica was the practice that she does is the belongingness to the community really helps her to stay grounded. And then you talked about, having this practice of being very mindful as to what you are consuming, whether it is in the form of diet or whether it is in the form of content that you're absorbing from the outside world, and also your prayer life, your ritual, your meditation practice that you do, where you have, if you will, the eternal guiding light who's always constantly guiding you to be on the righteous path. And what I'm hearing from you, Louis, you're saying that you mainly practice being a detached observer. So whatever scenes of life come, whatever people tell you, you detach yourself and then observe it without absorbing it, without getting influenced by it, without getting perplexed by it, and yet maintain your dignity and stay in that form of light that you are.
And it doesn't mean you don't care. And it doesn't mean you
Yeah.
don't love.
Yeah.
It's really self protection, but it's also, you're not escalating a situation with the
Mhm.
other person or for the other person.
Okay, very beautiful. Thank you so much. I have now the question related to your story that you were sharing about how you went from black to white. It's so interesting that thing. So my question here was, what do you do if the storms, in whatever form, whether it's in the form of relationships like you talk, or whether it's form of childhood trauma, or whether it is form of any memory, what do you do if the storms try to extinguish your light? If that anxiety attack happens, you said you know what to do. Can you share with us what do you do? You know,
Well, it doesn't have to be an anxiety
no,
attack,
I know.
which
I'm just
is
giving an
rare.
example, right?
But low level anxiety, I'm just in discomfort for whatever reason, or the extreme. What do I do?
Mhm.
I, what do I do? I'm trying to think of something we haven't mentioned. I go inward and upward. I become a child of God. I go to an innocence.
Mhm.
I'll say, I need help. And he's right there. Right there, capital H. He is there. And the more I do it, the more I trust it. I learn to trust it. Yeah, it's funny. There's a wonderful word in Hindi, nishchay. I can even spell it, Nishchay in English. And before I
Which
knew,
means,
before I knew that it was faith, right? Okay.
yes.
And then people say, oh, but it's deeper. Before I knew the other depth, my eyes watered when I heard it. And that happens to me sometimes. When I get really plugged in for 9 years or more, things happen that aren't chronological. Things happen that tell me what's going to happen. It's just very, very strange. But with the Nishte, my eyes watered before I realized that it was such a deep, loving trust and faith in Baba. And no human can do that for me. Because as humans, we will disappoint each other. We will. And then if we have enough love established, enough money in the bank, as my grandmother would say, then we're okay with the person. Like if I behave in a way my husband doesn't like, he knows the real me so deeply after 42 years of marriage that we can go back like playing Monopoly. You go back to go, and you just start again. And it's forgotten. And the ability to let go of a resentment, let go of a grudge, and really, this is the last thing I want to say, see the goodness in another person. I was just on the phone with a senior last week, a senior Brahmin, and she was questioning the behavior of someone. And I was kind of surprised the other, and I hung up the phone afterwards, realizing how much I liked about the person she was talking about. That they trained me here to really stop, put a full stop, a period on the thought that's negative. It may take a little bit, but put it on there and then go right to the specialty in the person. And that's light because it transports me to a much higher place. So when I'm being kind to them, I'm being cleansing to myself if I had a negative thought.
Yeah, Erica, what is for you, that helps you to combat that storm? And even if the storm is there, the light doesn't blow off, it stays. What do you do in that moment?
I ask myself, is it loving? Is my thought loving?
Mhm.
It's very, very simple. But also, as Louise said, I'll ask myself, is this a wasteful thought? Does this thought bring me joy? Does it bring me peace? how does it have me see the person that I'm thinking is a problem? Does this thought bring me more anxiety? And generally it does. And then I'll,
So what do you do then? That
Yeah.
I'm trying to get at the crux of the practice that helps you to not get entangled in that storm, but actually be safe even though you're in the storm. What do you do in that moment?
I've been practicing being detached because I've realized that when I am thinking and feeling that way, it's because I'm too attached to the story.
Okay.
You know, this is something I want to do more of. See the other person as a soul. See the other person as without their body consciousness, who they innately are. Because inside of us all is love and peace and the natural attributes, joy. But it gets buried. Here we are in this world that disappoints a lot. And then I've learned the silent uh, without words, taking my energy from Baba and sending it. My husband doesn't know what I do when before he wakes up. He's going to see the YouTube. I bless him, especially if he's gone to sleep troubled with the world. I bless him. And it's not arrogant because I draw from the power of the big H.
Very nice. So what I'm hearing is that you're saying that you actually become a living light by seeing specialities of others, by recognizing their true worth, but also it is your connection with the one true light that helps you to stay in that awakened state. And because you're awakened, you're able to shine your light and the darkness vanishes like it was never there.
Isn't she miraculous with words? That was
Right.
beautiful. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Very beautiful. Okay, wonderful. So I feel I have just one last question, and then if any one of you want to ask any question, you're free to do that. The Festival of Lights, the season of lights, brings a very beautiful message. Do you have any message for our people here, our friends here, that you would like to share during this very special time of the year?
It takes some time to enjoy the moments of life. Sometimes we're so busy and thinking about all the things that we have to do this time of year that we forget the reason for the season. So to take a moment to be present, to ask yourself what's most important and how can you bring more simplicity into everyday life to experience more of the light.
Beautiful. Thank you, Erica. And Louise?
Yeah, you know, we're walking and talking with people who are not Brahmins all day long, Erica and I. And you,
Brahmins means those who are not practicing the
Right.
teachings of the Brahma Kumaris.
right. So we're challenged because if someone's crying and they're upset, they want you to cry with them. We really don't.
Mhm.
If I'm going to help someone else, I want to stand on the banks of the quicksand, not jump in with them. But sometimes they'll react negatively if I don't emote or be. Now, it doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I don't love, but we protect ourselves so that we can stay in that stage of light and it can be contagious. We don't have to go dipping into the mud. We can stay in the cool waters, you know? It's a challenge though. And Baba even gives us credit for being, you know, out there and managing to rise above what other people think is truth. And the last thing I'll say is I've learned that the truth isn't anything I see or hear. The truth is always for me. Tell me if you're energy, it's always energetic. It's always true. I haven't met an energy that lied to me. I might confuse, but I'm getting real clear on knowing what the truth is, but I don't hear it on the radio and I don't hear it on TV and I don't hear it in the movies.
So
Yeah.
your message is to stay like a lighthouse, strong, stable, detached.
As much as I can.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, both of you. It was very enjoyable to have a conversation with you. I'm usually on the other side of the table. This time I'm playing this role for the first time. So hopefully it was received well. Any one of you have any questions for them that you would like to ask?
Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? I just want to comment that I thought it was terrific. I actually thought for a moment that you were on, and I don't mean to disparage it, I meant it like on television, that the commentary was so strong and so it was beautiful. Really, really. Yeah, the right panelists tonight.
Thank you.
It's excellent. Anyone, any
Any
questions?
question, any comment?
Louise, what did you mean by the truth is energy?
What did you mean by the truth being energy? It's energetic, you said.
Well, assuming that energy is not just what I see, hear, touch, feel, taste. It's like you can't see God, but you know he's there. You can't really see the sky, but it's got a name. God has a name. I have a name. But we're not the name. We're the energy. And I know when my energy is positive and I know when it's negative. And I know when someone else is having a bad day for sure. And I know when we're feeding each other, right? We're feeding each other like we did tonight. Does that
Yeah.
answer you?
And I also think one of the aspects of energy is that it's eternal and truth is eternal. So if I can feel the truth like that, that it's eternal, it's, always there, then that's energetic, perhaps. Okay, very nice. And so I want to leave you all by saying that let your little light shine, stay constantly shining, no matter what the world thinks. But I want to shine. I am light, you are light. This is the mantra that we can take from this season so that, the world can receive that light from us, because we know that now the need of the time and the need of the world is that they receive this light of truth, light of love, light of compassion, light of hope, light of, knowledge, whatever form you want to radiate your light, but just stay lit. Don't let anything ever dim it or extinguish it. Yes, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's off, turned off.
Om Shanti. Just one thought on that same, on the note that Sister Tina just spoke of. I connect light with healing. So our subconscious mind is very active in the morning when we get up. First thing
Right.
in the morning when we get up. It takes our affirmations, our visualization, and it works upon it.
Right.
And similarly, when we slip into sleep at night, just as we are drowsy, our subconscious mind is again most active, like in the morning. And what I do, and I've been doing this practice for years, I had a incurable disease or not disease problem. And so in the morning, as soon as I get up, I say, by God's grace, I'm getting better and better every day in every way, every day in every way. And what I this is the affirmation, but the visualization I do is like this light in the
Center.
divine light in the center.
Mhm.
So I connect light with divine, the divine light. I mean, yes, I love the Christmas time. I love these outer lights. But then when I'm doing my healing in the morning and at night, that's my divine light
Mhm.
I connect with. And I feel that this divine light is entering me, my whole being. And I specifically say the affirmation, supposing it's has to do with weight loss or whatever. I mean, I may have 10 things. So I say the divine light is entering me. It is healing me. It is helping me lose weight and keep it off. Thank you, God. And then I might start from my head to the toe. I might have 10 things that I want to work upon or need the healing on. And then I ended with 10 times saying, by God's grace, I'm getting better and better every day in every way. But visualizing that light entering me and
Right.
healing me.
Right.
So this is the practice I've been following, and it was incurable, but I've healed 80%.
Beautiful.
So I just wanted to, share that with you all.
Yeah.
That I connect light with healing,
Mhm. Very
divine
beautiful.
light.
Very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Meditation, one of the Latin root medere means to heal. So when I'm meditating, I'm actually healing myself. And so, yeah, that's what we do in Raj Yoga meditation also. I see myself as a light and I see God as the supreme light. And just like in science, we say energy flows from higher potential to lower potential. So naturally, when I connect with this light, automatically, I don't even have to say, I don't even have to beg or ask or be needy, nothing. I just have to connect. And automatically, I draw his light into myself. And that's the practice we also do early morning in our early morning meditations. So it's very nice to hear that. Thank you for sharing with us. All right. So good, everyone. Erica or Louise, do you want to end with a little meditation? Okay, I should do it. All right. So can we have a little music? Hmm? No, stay. Shine your light, right? Okay. So I invite you to sit straight and very consciously become aware that I am not this perishable body. I am light energy, energy that is eternal in nature, energy that is imperishable in nature, energy that can neither be created nor be destroyed. I am living force, light energy in this body. I reside in this body. I am master of this body, but I am distinct from this body. I am a separate entity from this body. And when I see myself in this eternal true form of being a point of light, I begin to recognize the beauty of the self. I begin to take notice that I am radiating light of peace. I am a peaceful soul. I am an embodiment of love. I am filled with eternal wisdom of the self. I am a powerful being. I am an embodiment of happiness. I see all these beautiful colors of different rays of light, whether it is light of generosity, light of compassion, light of love. I am constantly radiating these. in all directions. And so wherever I am a living light energy. Experience and visualize yourself as that light that is constantly radiating unlimited rays. And it is the vibration of these rays that is helping the world. And whenever I feel that my light is becoming dim or my battery is discharging, I instantly connect with the supreme light, the source energy, the powerhouse. I have access to my eternal Godfather. I have access to the Almighty Authority Father. And instantly I fill myself, recharge myself, refresh myself, rejuvenate myself. And once again, I'm ready to shine as bright as I can. And every time I do this, I know it is my contribution towards peace and harmony in this world. I become instrument and helper of God in a very natural way. Moving forward, I would continue to stay in this awakened state. I would continue to stay connected with one source light. And I will continue to give this support and cooperation of my light and vibrations to the world around me. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Two short announcements. Please stay for Blessing and Toli next week. Next Thursday, there will be no session. So we wish you a very, whatever you celebrate, be it Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, but next Thursday, there will be no session. But we will follow the following week, which is New Year's Eve. There will be a session celebrating New Year's Eve, starting again at 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And it's an opportunity to start the new year right with a clear mind and a clean heart. So hopefully see you. That's Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was. Oh, I thought it was December 31st. I apologize. Oh, but that's a Tuesday. I stand corrected. Tuesday will be a session for New Year's Eve. Thank you, Brother Eric, and thank you, Ryan and Brother Eric, always for their good work in our AV. Thank you all. And thank you, our panelists, and our wonderful moderator, and please stay for Toli. And again, Tuesday, the 31st, we'll see you. Om Shanti.